Found this budget USB charging station for 14 bucks on Amazon. That is like $1.40 for each port. So we're going to see how this thing works, if it holds up to the test. We're going to plug some things in. Basically a normal day that you're going to go and need to charge up either your phone, maybe you have equipment like I do. We're going to try this thing out, see if it holds up to the test, see if we have a meltdown. Who knows what's going to happen. I do got a watt meter to test and keep an eye on that wattage to see if we can actually get 150 watts, or at least as close as we can to it. So let's get down to it. We're up to 4 items and over 28 watts so far. And I have these 4 9-volt batteries I'm going to add by USB-C. And it's getting a little crowded, but let's go ahead and see what this does. Now let's look at the specs a minute. And if you look at those specs, that's 10 ports, 150 watts. That's 15 watts a port. Okay, I'm going to put up some basic Ohm's Law math up on the screen right now, and you can follow along if you want, and don't be intimidated. E equals I times R. E is for voltage, I is for amps or current, and R is for your resistance. Now if you do the power formula, P equals E times I. E and I, we've already established. E is voltage, I is current in amps. Now the P is watts in power. So you can follow along if you want with that basic math. E over IR. E would be divided by I to get R, and you can multiply I times R to get voltage. Now with the power formula, it's the same way. P equals E times I. P divided by E would be I. It's a division problem. If you do E times I, voltage, times current, you'll get your power, your total power of the circuit. So some basic Ohm's Law math there, and you can follow along if you want. We're going to get over to the table. We're going to unbox this thing, see what the build quality's like, see what the cable's like. Just do a general analysis, and then we'll get into the breakdown of this thing and do some figures, see if this thing holds up to the 150 watts. See if it's worth your money. All right, we're over at the table. We're going to check this thing out. It says GAN 150 watt USB charger. It says it's a quick charger, 150 watt. PD, which I do believe is USB-C, 20 watts. QC 18 watts. Okay, let's go ahead and open this and see how it's put together. And the first thing I notice is the charging station itself has a basic rocker switch. Yeah, it's like a little project box. It reminds me of the project boxes you used to sell at Radio Shack for about $3. It's got a basic appliance plug-in on the back. It's plastic, QC pass, that's good. Does have some labeling, so that's a good sign. And there we have it. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 USB-Cs and 5 USB-As. 2 of the USB-Cs are marked PD 20 watts, and the rest just say USB-Cs. 2 of the USB-As are marked QC 3.0, and that is 3 amp. And the other 3 are just marked USB-A. I assume those are 2.0 or maybe a lower, up to probably 1 amp, I assume. So I'm really not sure how they're getting 150 watts out of this, because these would be 3 amps, which QC 3.0. And if it's 150 watts, that would be, I believe, 3 amps across each of those at 5 volts, which is 15 times 10 of those, which is 150 watts. Now let's set that box aside and look at everything else that comes in here. I did have this power cord out earlier. I was looking at it just to check it out. It's a basic 2-prong. There is no ground. So usually that is to ground out any excess electricity, or if the cord's replaced or the polarity's reversed somehow. And there is a small user manual in here, and it says the same information on the front. It's a fold out, just a 3-page front and back, and it just gives basic instructions on how to plug it in to charge your phone. Pretty basic stuff. It says it does have an intelligent control chip that protects overheatage and voltage. It does read that it supports up to 10 devices at the same time, and it does control each of those to charge those at max speed. We will see about that. So let's see if this thing holds up. We're going to hook it up and try it out. Let's get back to the bench and put some power to it and see what happens. We will go ahead and plug that in. And there we go, we're already at watts. Okay, and here we go for the testing. We'll go ahead and plug that into the watt meter. Okay, and let's start plugging things in. And the first thing we're going to do is plug in a USB-A. And we're going to turn it on. And this is pulling right close to 10 watts here, 9.6 to 9.9 it looks like it's settled on. Now to adjust a few things, go ahead and plug in number 2. And these 4 AA batteries, I charge quite a bit on set, so I do need these from time to time. Let's watch that watt meter go up and see where it goes. We're at 17 watts. So it's not doing too bad. It did get 10 watts out of the first, and it's drawing another 7 or 8 watts. And let's just continue. I'm going to do a third USB-A. And we are up at 23.5 watts. So from 17 to 23 tells you about 6 watts we added between those 2 batteries. Now I have something for the USB-C, some Rode Wireless Pros. We're up to 4 items and over 28 watts so far. And I have these 4 9-volt batteries I'm going to add by USB-C. And it's getting a little crowded, but let's go ahead and see what this does. And let that completely kick on. It's going to start charging all 4 of those simultaneously. And we're up at close to 30 watts. Now, why stop there? Let's grab another USB-A and this newer light that I actually used on this set here that you're watching. I'm going to charge that. And we're definitely not getting anything over 30 watts out of this right now. Fill the temperature, make sure everything's safe. There you go, that's the verdict. This thing is not 150 watts, it is 30 watts. You have 10 ports. The first 2 on the USB-Cs and the USB-As do seem to be quick chargers. You're getting about 2 to 3 amps out of those. If you do the math, you're dividing 30 watts across 10 ports. I wouldn't recommend plugging in more than maybe 5 quick charge components, and that's about it. That's all this can really handle. When you keep plugging more things in, it's going to get hotter, it's going to burn up quicker. The components did heat up just a little bit, but it was just lukewarm. It wasn't anything dangerous or serious. So it will charge your devices. 10 is quite a stretch for 30 watts. I probably wouldn't count on it if that's your main charging device. It is $13.99, so it's not terrible. And if you want to see more videos like this, maybe you want to see us tear this thing apart and look at the components inside, drop us a comment down below. Make sure you like and subscribe the video if you found this video useful or you liked anything about it. I'll see you in the next one.